Hello, welcome to Blue Heron Hill. I'm Sue. Welcome back to my channel. Haven't put out a video in a few weeks. Been very busy. Thanksgiving just went by, gearing up for Christmas. But we have had snow and most of our temps have been down into the lower 30s. So that's a frost for us. That'd be 0 degrees in the Celsius scale. So they've been hovering around there. But there's still things to harvest in my garden. I do have things in the greenhouse. I have a few lettuce plants, spinach. Those are almost all harvested, and I'm going to try and replant a little bit, but I don't anticipate being able to sustain anything in the greenhouse. It's not heated. It's just going to be solar heated during the day, but the ambient temperature at night will be well below freezing. I will tent things up with plastic, and it's just an experiment to see how far along we can get. It has been a relatively mild temperature-wise latter half of this year. We've had a lot of rain, so the ground is not frozen, still very, very squishy, so I haven't actually gotten all of my beds prepped for winter. I've been trying to rake leaves, shred leaves to put as coverings on the garden. I do have cover crops in the main garden, and those I'll leave until throughout the winter. Gardens like to be covered. It helps in a number of ways, especially in weed control. It also helps in enriching the soil, re-enriching the soil from a whole season's worth of those nutrients going to all the plants that we got to eat this past summer and fall, and we'll continue eating on through the winter months. I wanted to show you what I still have growing in my garden, and we're going to harvest a few things. This is the longest I think I've been able to sustain crops in my garden, so thumbs up for that. So come along, let me show you. Now, here's one of my gardens. These are brassicas. These are broccoli here in the front foreground, and then there is some cabbage in the back. Also, I don't know if you can see, in this corner right here, some Swiss chard. Yeah, right there. Most of the broccoli I've harvested already. I do have one small little floweret. And that is right here. I have one little floweret that I'm going to take off. Not much, but that's all that's left. I left most of these to see if I could get some of the little flowerets coming out at the stem. There is one tiny little one here, but I don't think I have any other that have any kind of growth at the axis. There we go. There we are, a nice little floweret. Couple bite-sized pieces for dinner tonight. I'll just knock down these the leaves and just chop and drop, so to speak. They will decompose, not fully, maybe until maybe next spring. This way they'll provide soil cover. There won't be too much erosion from the soil loss. I'll give the little nutrients that will decompose into the soil. Now at this end of the garden I have cabbage. This particular one hasn't headed up at all. These were all a very late planting of cabbage. And so I didn't expect I would get too much. That's not much of a, this is not one that really headed up, had a chance to head up. But the leaves are still going to be good as a covering in the garden. Yeah, there's no head to this one. I have a nice cabbage head right here. Fairly nice head of cabbage. Little insect damage here, but edible regardless. Let's see what else I have. Here's another small one. Not a bad one, small, not so tight in the head. And here's another small one, but nice and firm. A little bit of insect damage. That probably occurred very in the fall before we got the cooler weather that drives all those insects away. That's a real sweet one. Very tight in the center. Some of these leaves will go to the chickens as a source of green because there's not too much fresh stuff for them to eat. Not much else left in the garden. This is not a viable one. Too small, but it's going to go to the chickens. Here's another garden that I've gotten to harvest from quite a bit. Lettuce, I have some spinach here. Most of that is gone. Didn't have too good of a germination rate. But I'm not sure. This has suffered a little bit. We had a heavier snowfall and it weighted down my support structure a little bit, but these are still very good and very viable. hope to be eating these, fingers crossed, for the next couple weeks. Here I have some Napa cabbage. It's doing extremely well. This one's heading up nicely. I have had some insect damage, but this all happened way back in October, right after I planted it. This is a lovely specimen right there. This should last me for another few more weeks. What I do is I have a cage-like structure to raise my floating row covers, which I have a floating row cover that goes over the top, and also a piece of greenhouse plastic then that goes on top of that. So hopefully this may last me through, at least I'm hoping, to the middle of December, another couple weeks. I'm happy to have had a video to put out to you about gardening in December. I still have a lot of fresh produce to be able to eat in December. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Mother Nature keeps this season mild for a few more weeks, that I can be able to harvest most of this. If not, it'll be great for the compost and for the garden next season. I have a video that I will link in the corner up here on putting your garden beds to rest for the fall and for the winter and getting them ready for the springtime. Maybe you can, if you want, comment down below and let me know what you do to get your beds prepared. I have a few more things that I need to do. I've cover cropped a lot of my gardens. I've put mulch and shredded leaves on other gardens, other plots here, and also composted a lot of my beds. So those soil nutrients that have been depleted from this past summer's gardens can be reestablished to provide more nutrition for the upcoming 2022 gardening season. So thank you for coming along. If you haven't already, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, share on all your social media outlets, and pass this along if you know anybody that would be interested. So until the next time, which may be 2022, happy gardening. Bye.